happy Saturday. I'm snowed in, and when I'm snowed in, I get bored, and when I get bored, I want to do things and make things and talk to myself like I'm doing right now, until you watch this, and then I won't be talking to myself. Today's topic. I wanted to talk about things I've learned over the past 10 years about being a pagan, about being in paganism, and about people around me, other things like that. What have I learned in 10 years? I'm going to share my experiences avec toi. First things first, religion is a big decision. When your parents had you and they decided that you were going to be baptized, or that eventually you were going to have a bat mitzvah or a bar mitzvah, those are decisions. Religion can be part of our families, or when we're older and can make our own decisions, we choose other ones. But either way, having belief, choosing what church or temple or mosque or metaphysical shop we're going to go to, those are decisions. We don't just make them on a whim. We should take them seriously. It's going to affect our lives. It's going to change our lives if they're big enough. It's going to affect how things happen for us, and so on. So, when I was 12, 13, 14, stepping into this world for the first time, I already had friends who were very much already in the pagan world. I looked to them for books. What should I do first? And they would say Teen Witch by Silver Ravenwolf, which is still a fine book for a beginner. And you're looking into witchcraft and the nature worship and the magic and all the mysterious things, and you're like, well, that looks fun. I want to do that. It's different when you're used to just your jeans and t-shirts, Nike sneakers, soccer, practice, life every day. If you're used to going to the same church, reading the same Bible, it gets, I suppose for some people it can get pretty mundane. It got mundane for me. Like, there's something else going on in here. There's something else I'm feeling and thinking. Find the right thing. And you look at witchcraft and you're like, that could be it. Or you look at heathenism, or druidism, or shamanism, or just your general goddess worship, and you're like, that's it! I want that. But you gotta do the research. Nowadays, when we go to purchase something big like our refrigerator or this laptop, we don't just go, oh, it's an Apple, I want the Apple. Or it's a Frigidaire, I want the Frigidaire, or the Sony, or whatever. We research things nowadays. We're spending a lot of money. In pagan terms, we're putting a lot of our time into this. You know what I mean? We don't just want to buy the first thing that comes along that has the best price or the prettiest colors or the best names. Right? We research things. Why don't we do the same thing with our faiths and religions? Well, I'm encouraging you to. I know witchcraft, Wicca, and maybe those are the big two, but other paths in paganism attract dabblers. They attract people who are in it for the wrong reasons. Maybe somebody legitimately thinks they can cast spells on people. You know, there are people out there who get into all these different things for the wrong reasons. Teenagers in high school would dress in black and bring their pagan books around and carry them around right next to their math books and their English literature books. It's like, you can't just carry that around. You're in high school. You can't just carry around your spell book on your arm. Cover that shit up. At least I thought you should. Especially in a town that was 98% Catholic. So you gotta really be careful. You know what I mean? Like I said, it does attract a lot of dabblers. You need to be careful who you talk to, who you trust with your personal information. You can't just meet somebody at school who is into Wicca just like you are and automatically think you're going to be coven buddies. No, bad idea, trust me. And I think a lot of people, especially the teenagers or the adults who don't quite get it, it's a toy to them. People think it's a toy. It's not a toy. Things can happen bad things can happen. Read the directions first before you buy. And the biggest thing is, this is real religion. It may look like you can build your own ice cream sundae, and you can create your own everything. You can to a degree. Paganism is very open to interpretation. It is very open to different ideas and beliefs. But there are certain things that you put into practice, that you teach other people, that you trust other people with, and that could just be hairy and bad, and we don't want to do that. So these are real religions with real people, and if you do something bad or wrong, there are real consequences. You can't be excommunicated, but all the shops in the area will share your name and say, don't let this person come to your drum circle, or something to that effect. Part 2, learning takes time. It does. It takes a lot of time. One book is good. You get your book, for me, was Teen Witch, and you read the book, and you've learned a lot. You really have. You've got a good basis. You're picking up steam with your education, and then you're like, 10 years later, like, oh my god, that's a lot of books. And you read them all, and you're like, wow. After 10 years, you're like, what can I learn in 10 more years? And then you end up a hoarder, and there's books everywhere. But that's fine, because they're books. You know, you don't know how long it takes to learn something. When kids, Jewish kids, are preparing for their bar mitzvahs or their bat mitzvahs, they are putting so much time and effort into learning what they're doing, into understanding what kind of ceremony and what kind of step they're taking. They're learning the Hebrew. It's a huge commitment, and you have to be willing to do it, or else you're just going to fall flat on your face eventually. So when you're learning, whether you're new to it, or you're kind of in it like I am, or you're like 30 years into it like some of my friends, you're still always learning new things. You know, things like the arts, like meditation, learning the basics like sabbats, traditions, symbols, how to set up an altar, what each different thing on the altar means, how to make your own holy water, etc., etc., etc. They take time. Like, when you're learning, let me find it for you. I probably can't find it all for you. But like, or photography, for example. I went and had my first aura photograph the first time, and there's not much color there, you know what I mean? And then I learned some relaxing techniques. I bought this crystal, you know, I learned how to improve, well, I can't even see any color on there, it's orange and red. And then I took care of some of my stress, I learned some techniques. 3 months later, I went back, a lot more color. I had learned a lot. And it's not just learning magical things, it can be learning mundane things as well that affect everything. And of course, you learn so much. Anyway, so what I learned from the aura photography is all the weight that I'm carrying, how it's affecting everything, and then once I was able to clear that weight off, boom, my aura grew and brightened up. 3. Actually, yes, 3. So, once you've expanded your learning and you've had lots of experiences, connecting after you've read, maybe not put much into practice, but after you've read and studied, you're moving on into practice and experience. Connecting with the divine takes time. Just like learning takes time, putting it into practice takes practice. So you can't see ghosts right now. You know how to look for them or listen for them, or you know that when it gets cold, or you know when the dog doesn't want to come in the bedroom, like you know the signs to look for paranormal activity. So you can't see a ghost yet. That's not a big deal. You know, you go for a nature walk and you're not all of a sudden, you're not Snow White to the birds and the bunnies. Not a big deal. They're not supposed to come to you. I know some of us half expect to go for a walk in the woods and we see a bird and we half expect the bird to have like this conversation with us. No, the bird will still fly away. You're not Snow White. Like I said, putting your knowledge into practice will take time. 10 years later, I still can't see ghosts. I know they're there. I know they're there when they are there. Don't worry about it. They will come. Accept to yourself that you will learn it. Accept to yourself that your third eye isn't dead, that it's opening. Don't say it will open. Say it is opening. That's what I was taught. And I'm better. You know, you can't name all the chakras. It's not a big deal. So, number 4, the body is sacred. Okay, some pagans, like shamans throughout time, take drugs. They take special ritualistic drugs in a ritualistic manner. They know what they're doing. They've, especially shamans throughout history, they know what they're doing. That's their profession, essentially. Nowadays, I wouldn't suggest taking drugs. I mean, unless you are legitimately a shaman, Native American, whatever your thing. But I would not suggest taking drugs ritualistically at all. They're not a toy, especially if you don't know what you're doing. You could have just bought a bag of marijuana off somebody who laced it with God knows what. Drinking, smoking, any number of things, even cigarettes, bad foods, bad habits, they all have their effects. If the body is the temple, why are you getting drunk 2 or 3 times a week and being reckless? If the body is a temple, why do you eat fast food? Okay, next. Know yourself. Know when to say no. Know when to say I don't know. You're not obligated to do anything. If somebody says you have to do this or you have to do that, or else you're not legitimately blah 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 blah, walk away. Find somebody else to teach you. Find somebody else to be with. You're not obligated to do anything you're not comfortable with. If you're being forced to do something, speak up. I know that there are people who say, oh, no, they're totally comfortable doing something. And then they act all fidgety and they get their hackles up. And you go up to them after and say, what was that? You said you were comfortable. You were part of the ritual. And your energy was just like all over the place. You have to know. Trust the person you're with. Say, yes, I'm comfortable, and then mean it. Or say, no, I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable. Step out of it so that your energy isn't all mucked up and that you don't harm yourself or let something go, like something negative go in the middle of the work. Lastly, this can be tied to the first point. There's bad people everywhere just because this is a peaceful, very connected, very community-oriented set of beliefs and religions. It doesn't mean that we're all happy to see you. It doesn't mean that we're all going to be good to you or teach you the right thing. Paganism is not immune to rotten apples, and we're not immune to bad teachers, and we're not immune to criminals or anything like that. So know who you deal with. Know who you're trusting. This is why I'll say, do not practice with anybody you don't solidly know. If you've known them less than 6 months to a year, at least, I wouldn't do anything formal or official with them. Read with them? Yes. Share ideas with them? Yes. Cast a circle and join a coven with them? Probably not. So, research the store you go to. If you go to a store, like a metaphysical shop, to go to a drum circle or an open ritual, and your hackles go up, you could be the most open person and the most comfortable person in the world, but if your hackles go up when you step into a store or go to attend a service or ceremony, listen to yourself. Your hackles aren't going up because you're shy. They're going up because there's something wrong with what's around you. Maybe the person leading the ritual is not a good person, and that is showing. You know, I went to a store in Salem. I won't give it away because there's nothing wrong with that store, per se. I went into the store and I didn't like it. It was too dark. It was too... didn't have the right feel, the way I would want to feel. I've never been back. People love that store, that's fine, but I can't trust the store and I don't like the owner. That's just me. I never bought anything from there, and I probably will never go back. So, if you get bad vibes, listen to yourself. Witch Fox, I would say, is a good website. If you're a witch or into Wicca, there's probably other websites for heathens and druids. But you can connect with people on there. You can search for stores. But like I said, don't automatically trust anybody just because you found them on Witch Fox, and witches are always nice people. So I think I've summed up everything I wanted to say. To just go down the list briefly, trust yourself. Don't automatically trust other people. You have to learn the people you're dealing with. Paganism is not immune to bad people. Body is sacred. Treat it like it's a sacred thing. Treat it like it's your garden or your child. I know it's your body, but why smoke or why drink habitually or do reckless things, sleep around with people you don't know? That's harming your body, harming yourself. Connecting with the divine and other people and other aspects, that takes time. Learning takes a long time. 1-2 books in your practice, you've learned some things, but you have no idea what you're going to learn in 5, 10, 15, 40 years. So don't give up. So I hope I've reached out to some people. I hope I've taught you something new. I hope you will pass it along. I hope you will put it into practice. And I hope to hear from you all, because I love hearing from you all. And by the way, our Fox response video, I say our because I feel like I speak for some people, our Fox news video has like 500 hits in 5 days. I think we did a good job. Thanks for all your support.